If you look at a population map of Nevada or a satellite image of the state at night, something jumps out immediately. In the very south, right along the border with California and Arizona, there is a blinding cluster of light, one glowing knot in the darkness. That is Las Vegas and its surrounding suburbs. Not far away, another bright patch appears, Henderson and the rapidly growing communities of the Las Vegas Valley. Together, they hold the vast majority of people who call Nevada home, over 3.21 million residents in the metro area, more than 75% of the entire state population. But now let your eyes move north. The lights thin out instantly. The bright desert glow of Las Vegas collapses into darkness. For hundreds of miles, you see only tiny sparks. A mining settlement here, a truck stop there, maybe the faint glow of a lonely gas station. Eventually, you reach Reno and Sparks in the far northwest, the only other true island of light, home to around 500,000 people. Everything in between? The rest of Nevada, tens of thousands of square miles, is one of the emptiest inhabited regions in the United States. Many counties have fewer than one person per square mile. Some look more like Mongolia or the Australian outback than the rest of America. So why is that? Why did almost everyone who settled in Nevada choose just two oases, Las Vegas in the south and Reno in the north, while leaving the entire middle of the state nearly untouched? The answer is not politics. It is not culture. It is something far older and far more unforgiving. The land itself, the Basin and Range, Nevada's repeating geography. Nevada's nickname is the Silver State, but geographers could just as easily call it the Basin and Range State. If the desert surface were peeled away and you could look directly at the skeleton of the land, you would see something astonishing. A repeating pattern of long, narrow mountain ranges running north to south like ribs across the continent, separated by wide, dry basins, enormous flat valleys that stretch for miles. This pattern is no accident. It is the result of massive tectonic forces that tore the crust apart during the Cenozoic era. As the crust stretched, it cracked into long rectangular blocks. Each block tilted, one side rising into a mountain range, the other sinking into a valley. Nevada has more individual mountain ranges than any other state, over 150 named ranges, many climbing past 10,000 feet. Some of them are almost completely unknown outside the region. The Ruby Mountains, the Toyabe Range, the Snake Range with Wheeler Peak, the Shell Creeks. Each one looks like its own isolated island of stone. If you drive across northern Nevada on Interstate 80, you experience this rhythm firsthand. Up a pass, down into a valley, up another pass, down again. It is like riding a giant geological roller coaster, sometimes repeating the pattern 20 or more times in a single day. And the farther you go, the more you realize something. These mountains do not just shape the view. They shape everything. Where roads can go, where railroads can go, where storms can go, and where people cannot. Because what matters most is what this terrain does to water. Those long, jagged ranges act like massive walls that block moisture. Even when Pacific air somehow makes it over the Sierra Nevada in California, it hits Nevada's interior mountains and releases whatever tiny bit of moisture remains. Most valleys sit in deep shadow zones where almost no rain reaches the ground. The land is breathtaking but unforgiving, beautiful but isolating, vast but nearly empty. The driest state in America. Nevada is the driest state in the entire country. Not one of the driest period. Most of Nevada receives less than 10 inches of rain per year. Large parts receive under 5 inches. That is less than many parts of the Sahara. The reason is simple: geography. The state sits deep inside the Sierra Nevada rain shadow. Moist air from the Pacific Ocean has to climb the Sierra Nevada in California, dumping huge amounts of rain and snow on the western slopes. By the time the remaining air crosses into Nevada, it has lost almost everything. What arrives in Nevada is just a dry whisper. Northern Nevada is a cold desert. Snowy winters, scorching summers, powerful winds, wide basins where water simply disappears. Many valleys are endorheic basins, meaning water never reaches an ocean. It evaporates or sinks into salty playas like the Black Rock Desert, where the ground can turn into a white, cracked mirror under the sun. The few rivers that do exist, the Humboldt, the Walker, the Carson, and the Truckee, are short, shallow, and unpredictable. They start in surrounding mountains, run for a few hundred miles, then simply give up in the middle of the desert, draining into lakes with no outlet. Not a single river in Nevada reaches the ocean. For early settlers in the 1800s, this was not a minor detail. It was everything. They understood one basic rule of life in the West. No water means no farms. No farms means no food. No food means no large cities. So from the very beginning, northern Nevada never had the basic resource that historically allowed American cities to grow. Eastern states could build towns along big rivers. California had the Central Valley. Colorado had the South Platte and the Arkansas. Northern Nevada had dry valleys, small streams, and hope. Meanwhile, far to the south, another story was starting. Silver and Rails, the story of northern Nevada. If northern Nevada could not support large-scale agriculture, what brought people there at all? Two things: silver and transportation. In 1859, miners struck something enormous near modern-day Virginia City, the Comstock Lode, the first major silver discovery in the United States, worth billions of dollars in today's money. Almost overnight, mining towns exploded across the mountains. Virginia City boomed to 25,000 residents, bigger than many eastern United States cities at the time. Miners, merchants, saloon owners, gamblers, and speculators flooded into the region. Streets were crowded, mines ran day and night, and fortunes were made and lost in weeks. Even a young Samuel Clemens, later known as Mark Twain, lived and worked there, writing dispatches from the wild silver frontier and mocking its chaos, corruption, and excess. At the same time, wagon routes and later rail lines began crossing Nevada. The Transcontinental Railroad, completed in 1869, followed the Humboldt River across the state. Towns like Winnemucca, Elko, and Battle Mountain grew as waypoints for trains moving between California and the rest of the continent. But here is the key. Northern Nevada's settlements were always small, scattered, and temporary in nature. Mining towns rose quickly, then collapsed once or declined, or prices changed. Rhyolite had 10,000 people in 1906, and 0 by the 1920s. Towns lived and died not based on climate, water, or farmland, but on the global price of metals. The North became a chain of small communities, separated by huge distances. Towns were built not for living, but for extracting resources. A boarding house, a saloon, a mine, a rail spur, and then, when the vein was gone, a ghost town. Nothing in the region ever created the density, diversity, or stability needed for a city of millions. From railroad stop to neon capital. Southern Nevada, on the other hand, began with a secret weapon: water. Real, flowing, above-ground water. Las Vegas started as a desert oasis called Las Vegas Springs, the Meadows, named by Spanish explorers for its surprising abundance of water. In a landscape defined by thirst, it was an anomaly, a place where water bubbled up naturally from the ground, feeding wetland grasses and small streams. It was one of the only natural watering points for over 100 miles in any direction. Indigenous communities relied on it for thousands of years. Travelers used it for survival. Railroad companies used it to water locomotives. In 1905, the San Pedro, Los Angeles, and Salt Lake Railroad auctioned land around the springs, selling out an entire town site in a single day. A grid of streets was laid out. A small town took shape. Hotels, saloons, and warehouses appeared to support the train crew and passengers. Las Vegas did not become a city because of gambling. It became a city because trains needed water, and there was nowhere else to get it. But the real turning point, the moment that determined the fate of the entire state, came in the 1930s. The dam that changed everything. In 1931, during the depths of the Great Depression, construction began on one of the most ambitious engineering projects in American history, Hoover Dam. A 726-foot wall of concrete holding back the Colorado River, creating Lake Mead, for decades the largest man-made reservoir on Earth. The dam provided massive hydropower, flood control, irrigation for the Southwest, drinking water for millions, thousands of construction jobs, federal investment in nearby towns, and Las Vegas was the closest major settlement. The city exploded with workers, engineers, and visitors. Water flowed, electricity surged, hotels sprang up, businesses multiplied. Bars, boarding houses, and casinos catered to dam workers looking to spend their wages after brutal shifts in the heat. The federal government poured money and infrastructure into the region. Northern Nevada never received anything even remotely comparable. Hoover Dam didn't just give southern Nevada water, it gave it destiny. The Colorado River, tamed behind concrete, became the lifeline for a city that otherwise should not exist. Lake Mead and a network of pipes and pumps turned a harsh desert valley into a permanent oasis. And then came the final catalyst. Two Nevadas, two paths. In 1931, the very same year construction started on Hoover Dam, Nevada legalized gambling. Northern Nevada opened casinos in Reno, Carson City, and Elko. For a time, Reno was famous as a quick divorce capital and a gambling hub, long before Las Vegas became a global brand. But those northern towns were limited by small populations, colder climates, and much smaller tourism flows. Southern Nevada had everything a new entertainment empire needed. Warm climate, cheap, flat land, unlimited electricity from the dam, a ready-made workforce from the construction boom, proximity to California's exploding population, a reputation as a place where anything goes. By the 1950s and 60s, Las Vegas transformed from a dusty railroad stop into a global entertainment capital. The Strip grew into a 24-hour universe of lights, resorts, neon, and spectacle. Organized crime investments, celebrity performers, and endless rivers of tourist money fueled what felt like a city on fast forward. Southern Nevada took off like a rocket. Northern Nevada stayed grounded. Two landscapes, two economies, two futures. The pull of jobs, airports, and infrastructure. In the modern world, cities grow for one main reason: jobs, and Las Vegas created them at a staggering rate. Massive resorts, convention centers, sports arenas, entertainment venues, giant casinos that operate around the clock, each one needing thousands of workers. The Las Vegas Strip alone employs more people than some entire U.S. states. Harry Reid International Airport became one of the busiest in the country, serving tens of millions of passengers a year. Every cheap flight into Vegas is not just a ticket, it is a pipeline bringing in money, visitors, and eventually, new residents. Highways converged on the city, warehouses and distribution centers followed. New suburbs exploded outward in every direction, filling the valley with cul-de-sacs, shopping centers, and schools. Meanwhile, Northern Nevada built a respectable economy around logistics and warehousing along the Interstate 80 corridor, manufacturing and tech, including the Tesla Gigafactory, outdoor tourism near Lake Tahoe and the Sierra Nevada, ongoing mining operations in rural areas. Reno and Sparks turned into a modern, growing metro, but compared to Las Vegas, its gravitational pull is modest. And beyond Reno, the land empties out immediately into some of the most inhospitable terrain in the continental U.S. High deserts, snowy passes, long stretches without towns. The mining paradox: wealth without people. Here is the strange twist. Northern Nevada produces a huge share of the state's economic wealth, especially in mining, without producing a huge share of its people. Some of the richest gold mines in the world are in remote parts of Nevada. The Carlin Trend alone has yielded tens of millions of ounces of gold. New lithium projects, critical for electric vehicle batteries, are emerging in the north as well. But mines do not build big cities. They build temporary camps, company towns, and small service hubs. Modern mining is capital intensive, not labor intensive. Gigantic machines and a relatively small number of workers can extract enormous amounts of ore. Many workers commute in on rotating shifts or live in small towns that do not need to grow much to support the industry. So you get a paradox. Northern Nevada is rich in resources, but poor in population density. The money flows through the state's economy, but the people still cluster in the south, where the jobs are more diverse and the cities feel more like cities. Water politics and the future. Nevada's future, like its past, depends on water. Southern Nevada gets about 90% of its supply from the Colorado River. Through strict conservation and advanced recycling, Las Vegas uses less water per person than almost any major United States city. Nearly every gallon that goes down a drain is treated and reused. Lawns are being removed and replaced with desert landscaping. Water features are tightly regulated. Northern Nevada relies on local rivers such as the Truckee and the Carson, which rise in nearby mountains and shrink during droughts. Snowpack in the Sierra Nevada and other ranges determines how full reservoirs and rivers will be. Climate change threatens both regions, but the South has concentrated political and economic power, advanced water infrastructure, legal access to the Colorado River through long-standing compacts, massive recycling systems, and strict conservation laws, northern Nevada is more vulnerable to dry years. There is less redundancy, fewer giant reservoirs, and less engineered flexibility. Water shapes where growth is possible, just as it shaped where Nevada's cities first appeared. In a drier future, it will decide who can keep growing and who cannot. The answer: geography, water, and timing. So, why do so few Americans live in northern Nevada compared to southern Nevada? The outcome was decided by three forces. First, geography. Northern Nevada is a maze of isolated basins separated by harsh mountains. It is difficult to cross, difficult to build in, and difficult to supply with water. The land naturally fragments people into small pockets. Second, water and oasis. Southern Nevada began with the Las Vegas Springs, then gained access to the Colorado River. Hoover Dam turned the region into a permanent oasis. Northern Nevada never had a comparable centralized controllable water source. Third, timing. Las Vegas grew at the exact moment America was building massive infrastructure, expanding highways and air travel, legalizing gambling and entertainment, and moving west in huge numbers. Northern Nevada had mining booms, but nothing that lined up all the factors required for a megacity. In the end, Southern Nevada had every advantage. Northern Nevada had every obstacle. The empty desert and the glowing city. Stand anywhere in central or northern Nevada and spin in a circle. All you see is emptiness. Sagebrush seas, silent basins, jagged mountains, distant dust plumes, abandoned mining camps and broken wooden shacks. It is a land built for solitude, not for millions. Now stand on the Las Vegas Strip at night. It is the opposite universe, a galaxy built by people, a glowing man-made city of neon, steel, traffic, music, fountains, skyscrapers, and spectacle. Light spills into the sky. LED screens flash. Music thumps from every direction. Planes land, taxis honk, crowds move in waves. Two different worlds under the same flag. Two different futures shaped by the same force. Geography. Nevada did not choose to be uneven. The land chose it long before humans arrived. One desert found water, electricity, jobs, and global fame, and it became a home for millions. The other remained what it has always been, one of the largest, quietest, emptiest spaces in the American West.